Top Gun Maverick. That's how you make a sequel. Hello and thank you for clicking on my channel. Welcome to the Real Movie Podcast, and today I want to talk about Top Gun Maverick. This movie has so many reviews that I don't want to say the same things. I want to review this by looking also at the first movie. So here we go. The first Top Gun came out in the 80s, 86 I think. It was directed by Tony Scott. Unfortunately, Tony Scott passed away in 2012. This movie is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who worked with Tom Cruise in another movie which was called Oblivion, and that movie is fun as well. About the actors of this movie, well, Tom Cruise is the actor of this movie. I mean, what else should I say? That's it. When you have Tom Cruise, no one else matters. And if they do matter, Tom Cruise will make sure that this won't happen. What's the plot of this movie? Well, US Navy wants to choose 6 pilots out of 12 of the best who were graduated from Top Gun projects, and they bring Tom Cruise to teach them. Amongst those students and pilots, we have Goose's son, whose name is Rooster, played by Miles Teller. And to be honest, Top Gun has never been about the story of the movie. I shared my review about the first Top Gun. You can check it out on my channel. I will put it in the description and stuff. That movie was really bad. That movie was way over the top, way overrated. It was a sweaty movie. I mean, people were talking and they were sweating really hard with cheesy one-liners, weird editings. So many weird things happened in that movie. And when that movie was over, I was like, really? And then I looked at the movie with another perspective. I looked at the effect that this movie had in the pop culture. As I said before in that review, it doesn't matter how crappy something is. If the American media wants to make something big, they can do it. So they use these costumes that those pilots wore in Top Gun movie. They made those costumes available for Halloweens. Those glasses became iconic. So many lines from that movie were referenced in other movies. I feel the need for a speed. I mean, this is like whenever you say this line, people say Top Gun. It doesn't matter where and when you say it. And above all, that movie has some weird sound effects or music even. Although they became all cult classics and they were used in many other projects as well. But I mean, come on, it sounds like porn music. Maybe I'm listening to those music with today's taste and ears, but for me right now it does sound like porn music. I also have to mention some weird scenes. For example, that nude beach volleyball scene, which just came out of nowhere, or that scene where Tom Cruise went home with that girl, came out and didn't do anything, and the next day the girl was dressed like a man. I mean, it was really weird. Let's not talk about that movie anymore and let's talk about Top Gun Maverick. This movie was brilliant. This movie was great. My expectations were low, to be honest. When I started watching this movie, I was even hesitant to even watch it or not, but this movie got so many good reviews and stuff with audience and with critics that I said I should definitely check it out. And to be honest, I was really satisfied. This movie is awesome compared to previous movie. It is one of those sequels that take the first movie to like 10 levels higher. It is that good. This movie has great characters, great dynamic, great relationships, a great heart as well. I really found a great heart in this movie that I didn't think it would exist in such movie. The relationship between Maverick and Rooster, the relationship between Maverick and Ice, the dialogues, and even some of the new characters were good. I mean, this movie was not perfect as far as the characters are concerned. For example, Jennifer Connelly and her daughter could have been just deleted from this movie, but I don't know why. I really think that they were there. I'm sorry to Tom Cruise fans, but I think people said that Tom Cruise was gay in that movie, and Jennifer Connelly was shoehorned into this movie to say that they had an on-again, off-again relationship. So we realized that Tom Cruise's character, Maverick, is not gay. Anyways, that's my theory. And let's talk about the best part of the movie. I really feel like I don't have the knowledge to talk about this part. But whenever people were in air, in the jets, those shots from inside the aircraft, I felt like I was in a cockpit with the pilot and I'm in the air. It felt so real and so alive. I didn't have the chance to watch this movie on biggest screen, but I can only imagine how great people felt when they were watching this scene. And that is what made this movie brilliant. These scenes, these fights, these shots were so spectacular that it covered all the flaws of this movie and the previous movie, and even if there's another movie after this one. I mean, I can't just overlook every simple detail that I didn't like by just thinking about these shots in the air. I'm not a fan of aircraft. There are so many children that when you ask them what do you want to do when you grow up, and some of them might say I want to be a pilot, but I was never a fan of aircrafts, airplanes, or becoming a pilot, or especially something like this. I was never a fan of this, but even I could enjoy this, and that showed how beautifully and perfectly these shots were taken. Again, I'm not the one that should talk about this stuff because I know jack shit about aircrafts and how they run on fuels or how they can fly, but my mouth was open the whole time. The tension of the attacks, the tension of the movie, and the best part of these shots, these airplane shots, was that it was a good chunk of the movie. We had so many scenes that we saw people in the air because people wanted to train, people wanted to do an impossible mission. Well, no pun intended because of Tom Cruise. At one point, you don't even care about the character growth and every other thing. Those air shots just made you love every single character and made you close to them. These trainings made you feel close to the characters when they were about to do the mission. I was really worried about the characters. Believe me, I hoped every single second that no harm would come to any of these characters. It didn't matter if it was secondary or primary characters. If you want to watch this movie, again, I'm not saying this movie is, if you look at it from a story point of view, this movie is mediocre, but it is still better than the first one. But watch this movie for these shots, for the cinematography, for the creativity in how to shoot a movie which happens in the air. And at the end, I have to say the biggest achievement that this movie got was to make the first movie feel like it was a masterpiece. Although it wasn't, it really wasn't. We had so many references to the previous movie, from the intro of the movie to the credits to the sweats to the nude sports playing by the beach to porno songs to weird editing, and that sex scene with Jennifer Connelly, which had also almost the same dynamic as the previous one in the 80s. I mean, this movie did have a lot of references to the previous one, but somehow it made it much better. And yeah, that's my opinion about Top Gun Maverick. This is a must-watch movie, one of my favorite movies of the year, not because of the story or the characters. It was solid, it was good as far as the story and characters go, but for the experience that I had with this movie, it was just unique. That's my opinion about Top Gun Maverick. Tell me, what do you think about this movie? Have you watched it? And what's your favorite Tom Cruise movie in general? And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.